Relationships. Why do we build them? We build them to build trust, to earn privileges, to gain access to things. We work really hard every day to build these relationships. Now, how do we build them? Well, we build them through developing a rapport, by the way we react to things, by the way we respond to each other, through what we know, how we look, what our appearance is, physical characteristics, behavior, gifts, things that we give to each other. And that certain something that is really difficult to replicate and difficult to find. Similarly, we do the same thing the way that NIST describes them, the National Institutes of Standards and Technologies in the United States. There are 3 factors to authenticate ourselves, as defined by them. Biometrics are something we are, a unique physical characteristic of ourselves. Secrets are something you know, and something you have, a token, a physical thing that you carry with you. Typically right now we prove our identity using 2 of these things or maybe 1 of these things. So most companies offer a 2-factor authentication method that would combine a token and a biometric, or a secret, a password, for example, and a token, or a token and a biometric. The evil password and PIN code that everyone's trying to kill is the secret. It's something you know, something you carry inside your head. We've used one of these 3 methods, or some of these 3 methods, to prove our identity since the beginning of time. So when Grok was sitting in a cave looking at the top of the hill, and he saw Mork walking by, he said, "Oh, I know that's Mork because I know how Mork walks." It's early use of biometric. It's a unique physical characteristic. It's a behavioral characteristic is the way we describe it. The Romans would walk and do their rounds, security rounds around a fortress with a secret handshake or a password, something they would whisper in each other's ear, much as the way we do in societies and fraternities these days, or by a piece of wood with an inscription on it that would only be known by the people who are working around the facility or the fortress. So you would have a knowledge factor, something you know, the secret password, and you would have a token, something you have. Early multi-factor authentication. And of course, you might recognize the guard that was doing the rounds. So then you have 3-factor authentication. We were doing that thousands of years ago. Since then, however, we've kind of changed it, because in 1962, Fernando Corbato invented the computer password at MIT. And it was used to access the earliest computers. Well, we started using all these tools, and we dummied it down to something that a computer can understand. Only a computer could understand that input, that alphanumeric string that says, that's Mike, that's Bob. And that's how we're proving our identity. There's a problem, though, because even though we've been doing that forever, we're still doing it. So, as an example would be, we have a password, a knowledge factor that we write down and put at the bottom of a computer, and a token, a card that we carry. So, these are Jane's credentials, and this is a very typical way, by the way, we prove our identity today, using 2 of those 3 factors I described. However, that's Jane. Forget about the Shutterstock. Had to do it kind of quick. That's Jane, though. Most authentication systems will have no idea what the difference is. They're not authenticating people. They're not authenticating people the way that we do as human beings through relationships. We're authenticating them simply through credentials. And that has to stop, because it's led to some huge problems. The biggest target of thieves right now online are databases. Databases of credentials. They're being sold online constantly. You're probably on one. I hate to tell you that. I'm probably on one too, but fortunately, I'm getting rid of passwords, so hopefully we won't have to worry about that. Bad actors inside. They can access. You still don't know who that is. This was 23 years ago we had this cartoon, and the thing is, it still rings true today. We still don't know who's on the other line of that computer. We don't know who really logged in. We know what credentials logged in, and we don't know who we're talking to. We only know that it looks like my bank portal that I'm going into, which is possibly a spoof. One of the biggest problems hitting us right now is ransomware, because we don't really know we can't tell the authenticity of the site that we're going to, or the button we clicked on, or the process that we're addressing. Shared credentials by employees, another problem. If you have a card and a username, or a card and a password, or maybe a username, it's still easy to share that. And the problem with doing that, the reason it's a problem is because we're not proving an individual's identity. We've got a few minutes, but the whole concept of societal and digital maturity, as a society, we're still not understanding that we need to be held accountable for what we do online. And because of that, we don't want to give information. We're wondering why we're getting ads for cat food when I'm posting cat pictures on my Facebook account every day. I don't want that. I don't want those cat food ads. Well, we need to be held accountable for what you're doing. So as our relationship with technology becomes more and more interactive by our watches, by the way we interact with our computers, we're talking to our computers. I was talking to my watch a few minutes ago. I was going to set the alarm, but I forgot. We're constantly looking at our phones. We're talking to our phones. We're immersed in our phones. We're not immersed in a computer keyboard anymore that's alphanumeric, right? That's not very fun. Why are we still using alphanumeric credentials to prove who we are when it has nothing to do with who we are? It has to do with what we have. It has to do with something that a computer understood 60 years ago, that Fernando thought it was important to gain access to a system. But he never, I know, he's 90 years old, he'll be 91 in July. He never intended for this to be something that was going to be heavily secure. And he couldn't have predicted what was happening, the immersiveness and the interactivity of our computer relationships today, and where it's going to be in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But it's these relationships that we're already developing. With smartphones, biometrics, the immersiveness of everything. Not just smartphones, speech integrations. Again, I was talking to my watch. Imaging, physical gestures. Again, the watch turns on. I can go like this. I got a patent for going like this, and that tells me who I am to something because of how I interact with this device. So we're having conversations, ordering pizza. Remind me to buy some more cat food on Thursday because I don't look at my ads on Facebook anymore, and it's coming back and telling me to buy the cat food. It's amazing. We have these great technologies. We need to leverage these technologies. We can develop relationships by interacting with these technologies because they're learning our behavior. With the machine learning taking place, with this friend relationship right there, right now, it's getting smarter and smarter and smarter. And everything that we input into a system can be used to our advantage by training it to understand who we are by our behavior, our interactions, and what we do in response to certain stimuli that we can pre-program and pre-register to really create a safe privacy, a privacy for our digital identity. The immersive technology is everywhere from augmented reality, where we're taking some artificial reality and integrating it or augmenting our own personal reality with it, to virtual reality, where everything is artificial and we've created it ourselves or somebody else created it for us, and now we can immerse ourselves in this new place. That's really, really opening up opportunities to create immersive, interactive, behaviorally stimulating, and analytical environments that enable us and empower us to have a secure environment, a secure place to put our identity, and a method for developing our identity. This can be done both on a conscious and subconscious level. And there's a lot of activity taking place in those areas. We don't always think about tactile motion, but that's an interaction. It could be a secret interaction because we know what we're interacting with in that given environment, whether it be a two-dimensional environment or a three-dimensional VR environment or AR environment or a mixed reality environment where it's somewhere between having something we put into an environment, and maybe the environment is different and a few things are real, or the virtual reality environment where everything is artificial, like I was saying before. Those interactions are enabled now with all these technologies. Behavioral responses. Pre-register the way that you respond to something. When somebody says, when I have a computer tell me, Twinkie, my mind might respond in one way, or my face might respond in one way that nobody else is going to. Maybe I really don't like Twinkies, or maybe I really like Twinkies. We can analyze moods and behaviors and shifts like that, and how our faces change, or how our voice changes in response to certain stimuli. That's a very simplified method. But these things are already taking place. These are real technologies. Inner thoughts. So, BBC now lets me take this remote in their labs and put it over here, and I can just think, change screens, and it will switch to the next slide. Do the same thing, BBC is doing the same thing with in their labs for changing channels. So you don't have to worry about where did I put my clicker. You don't need it anymore. All you need to do is think. MindSense, BrainPrint. These companies are putting together technologies where I can have two sensors, just using EEG technology, and, well, not MindSense, and I can think, I can write something down, and it will show up on a screen, and I can see what that is, without anything else. There are EEG technologies, there are CAT scan technologies that are coming out that are being able to read patterns and identify those patterns and behavioral responses to certain stimuli. Those technologies are real. They're only in the experimental stages of being used to be really, really accurate, but they're helping redefine the way that we can prove our identity by understanding us better and building upon those relationships that we're continuously building with computers. There was a movie a few years ago called Brainstorm, and people would record their experiences and put them out and provide them to other people to experience, and they were overwhelming. That technology is a few years down the road, but it's very realistic and it's not off the grid. So, just a few key points, a few key takeaways. Our relationships with computers really are becoming very, very interrelational, and the technologies are supporting them. They're becoming more humanistic, personally engaging, and companies are bringing in engaging technologies to better engage their employees and customers. We need to utilize them. The natural and unique ways that we personally interact with every day with these technologies can be used to better prove our identity and better safeguard the privacy of users, as well as better safeguard the security of the data that companies are storing in their databases and their systems. And the technologies are already out there, so we really need to leverage them. In closing, I challenge you to interact with one another, immerse yourselves in the world around you, explore the new technologies at the conference, and build relationships with them, because rest assured, they are the ways that we will be proving our identity and safeguarding our identity and digital access in the very near future. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Happy Valentine's Day. And build those relationships. And I'm happy to take any questions if there's time. Thank you.